Hey, this is David Owen.
And this is Marian Cowagowan.
And this is not your normal intro. Before the actual episode proper started, we wanted to come on because a little explanation is in order. Way back when we were first starting this thing, we decided to do some practice episodes. And one day thought we might share them with you. And this is that day.
Today is the day. Here we go.
So we weren't sure if this was going to work or what our dynamic was going to be like. So we did some early practice episodes, and this was one of the better ones. And we'd always planned to share some of these at some point, but the forces aligned to make this the week that's going to happen. So this is an episode that we recorded a month or two before the actual start of the podcast. And it's a test. It's a little rough. The intro and outro are going to be different. The recording quality might be a little bit different. But we thought it'd be an interesting thing, and it's actually a pretty good episode on its own.
It's one of our better practice episodes.
For sure. So
but we are not the finely honed machine that we are now.
Oh,
of
no.
course.
Although this might be the episode with the original origin story for the wood grain VHS case that we've since had to retell that origin story.
Put a pin in that.
Yes.
Okay.
So keep your ears out. So this is Best of the Best, a practice episode for the You Show Me Yours podcast.
Enjoy. Hey everybody, this is Marian Cowagowan.
And this is David Owen.
And this is You Show Me Yours, the podcast where a married couple talks about the movies and TV that they experienced before their first date. And today, I was made to watch Best of the Best.
Which is, of course, the 1989 martial arts classic starring Eric Roberts.
You say classic, yet I had never heard of it before. Not just not seen it, never heard of it.
Never.
At all, no.
There are like 3 sequels to this movie.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I am not, I guess, well-versed in the Eric Roberts canon.
Pantheon of Roberts.
Yeah.
This is back when he still seemed like he might be a thing. Like he might. I mean, I think.
He's a thing, just not a good thing.
I think Eric Roberts has gone on to redefine himself in a sort of Robert Patrick-esque way as a very dependable character type act. Like if you say, I want an Eric Roberts type in this role,
you know exactly what it is. Yes.
Yeah, but also he's available, so you just get him.
This is true. This is true. Well, he also has what I guess can be a pro or a con is you see him and you automatically know this is a bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a spoiler.
Right.
But they don't have to do as much work with the writing because you are already anticipating it. Although in the rare occasion that he's cast as a good guy, you were completely flummoxed.
Well, right. That's how you do. It's like casting Danny Houston as the hero of your movie.
Yes.
Or what's the Blue Eyes?
Neil McDonough.
Yeah,
yes.
As the hero. Like he's never the good guy. So, you see him and you're just waiting. Like, I'm just waiting for Danny Houston to turn. I'm waiting for Eric Roberts to turn out to be a heel.
Can I sidebar about Neil McDonough? So Walking Tall was on TV recently and I watched parts of it. And I don't know. I always, when I'm watching a movie, I pull up Wikipedia and go to the actors' bios and whatever, because sometimes you find out somebody died and blah, blah, blah. And Neil McDonough, it turns out, is a devout Catholic. Which is why he doesn't do sex scenes in movies, which is all well and good. But he sells drugs in Walking Tall.
Right.
And he's responsible for a lot of violence. And I'm just like, as a practicing Catholic, that doesn't seem to jive to me. So I kind of resent this misrepresentation of my faith. Also, in Walking Tall, there's strippers and probably prostitutes.
Yeah.
So I take the beam out of your own eye before you address the one in your brother's, if that's
or whatever.
Or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I can no longer enjoy him as much as I used to. But
yeah. Speaking of,
yes, back to what we're talking about.
Speaking of Best of the Best.
So yeah, I had never heard of this, but it looks like it was a little bit of a Mad Libs of all the '80s tropes. There was a little bit of Rocky.
Yeah,
I thought a little bit of Top Gun. I thought,
sure. Yeah, it's an amalgamation. I mean, it's directly inspired by Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not even really trying to hide it. Yeah, it's so if you haven't seen the movie, it is just it's a movie about a ragtag group of American martial artists who have to train up and become a unit and take on the evil Korean team.
Yeah, are Koreans evil? Was that the case in 1989? I don't remember.
Because it's not explicitly North Korea. And this was made sort of in conjunction with the Seoul Olympics, which were in South Korea in 88.
Yes.
So it was not, that was kind of the reason that Korea was in it.
But they just say Korea. They don't specify.
Right.
So,
they say the Empire or Republic of Korea at one point or something.
And one of them is, I think South Korea is the People's Republic and North Korea is the Democratic Republic. So just saying the Republic doesn't really reflect it.
And they have the Korean flag. Like that flag that they use is the South Korean flag, right?
Yeah. I think, yes.
Yes. So that very clearly either but also I pointed this out to you when we were watching it. There is a character in the movie named Tommy Lee, who is played by Philip Rhee, I think is his name.
I think that's it.
He wrote and produced this movie, and he is, to my knowledge, of Korean descent. So you would think if anyone was going to get it right, it would be him.
Yes. Well, and I'm trying to think back because, I was a little bit older than you in 1988.
That's right.
89. I'm still a little bit older than you.
Amazingly.
I know. Funny how that works. And I don't think that then we really talked about South Korea and North Korea. We just talked about Korea, which is crazy because they were separate at the time. But it may be just a global geopolitical thing. We didn't really emphasize the difference until North Korea became a threat. I don't know.
I guess people were too busy citing the difference between East and West Germany to have. I don't need to have to keep up. Now I got North and South Korea. I've got East and West Germany. I've got North and South Dakota.
That's
it's
true.
too many things to keep up.
That's true. Yeah. Even in the U.S., I think some people have trouble keeping the Carolinas straight. So the Dakotas are just, I don't know. It's
there's no hope.
Cold.
There's no hope.
It's cold.
So this movie is full. It's in 1989. So it's full of great 80s music.
Some sweet mullets.
Awesome mullets. There's a couple of kids with some sweet haircuts. There's a Tommy, our sort of de facto main character.
Okay, thank you for saying that, by the way, because I was like, why is Eric Roberts being given top billing on this? I don't care about his story. I care about Tommy Lee. But is that Hollywood racism coming through? People wouldn't go to see a movie with an Asian lead, so they put Eric Roberts instead?
Well, so what this series becomes is a Tommy series after this.
Okay.
So the subsequent sequels, Eric Roberts, I think, is in the second one. And then I think there's a third and fourth, which just have Tommy in them.
Okay.
So I think but I do think you're right. I think it was Tommy Philip was smart enough to understand that he needed a gateway person, like an everyman. And you see, like, he is even literally a factory worker.
Right.
I hear the cat. Where's he at?
Although, come to think of it, he's in Oregon. And the other guy's from Detroit, so
right,
but whatever. That's
in the well-known auto industry of Oregon. Yeah. Also, this movie gets a lot of that confused. Right, there is an Italian, a New York Italian who's from Detroit.
Well, he doesn't say New York.
No, but everything else about him says New York.
Well,
this guy was definitely in the last round of callbacks for The Sopranos. Like,
well, I think there's a decent sized Italian population in Detroit.
Sure.
So I wouldn't say that is not as much of a misstep as the cowboy from Miami. That's what?
The Miami love muscle or whatever?
Do we mean Miami, Texas instead? I don't get that.
It's not like he's just... He is a full-on Texas cowboy with a huge belt buckle, and he wears his cowboy hat everywhere. I'm
surprised he didn't wear it in the ring, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's probably illegal. They probably wouldn't let him.
He doesn't care. He's an outlaw.
Well, he's an outlaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this movie is full of that. Like, this is a good late 80s movie because it's got everything in it, right? It's got people laughing at casual racism.
Yes.
You know, like
oh God, there was a lot of that.
Yes. Well, and he's kind of there to be the guy who doesn't have time for these, Hi, Jeeves.
What does the cat think about this? The cat protests the casual racism.
Yeah. So he's there to be the guy that grows, right?
Yeah. You don't really see it. You just Just it happened. Growth happened. It's fine.
You see it in so much as they come together as a team, and in the end, there's the final the nail in the coffin to his racism is when Tommy comes back after his turn, after he leaves. And he comes back to the team.
He takes a motorcycle ride that apparently takes a full day.
Or something, yeah. See, he leaves and he comes back to the team and he warmly greets everybody. Then he has a face-off with Travis is the character's name. Offers him a handshake and then
he
pulls it back, and then they share an exuberant high five.
That's it.
And
that's all
it.
you need.
And racism is over.
That's
it. It's
ended. We should try that. In our country now, we should just a fake out handshake and a hug, and boom, and we're done. We're done.
You're done. So yeah, there's a lot in this movie. I don't know if we should cover it all, but one thing I gotta say is that when they were making this movie, they almost certainly looked around on set and they said, "We've got too much scenery here," and then they immediately hired James Earl Jones to chew it all. He spends this almost entire movie yelling at the top of his lungs about everything.
He really does.
Every scene he is in, he just sucks the oxygen out of the room. And he's got the voice to do it.
Yes.
But even casual conversations are like, they turn into, within 3 or 4 words.
Would you like some coffee?
I'm going to get you some coffee.
Put 2 creams in it this time. Yeah, he's...
Yeah, and, and again, everybody in this movie, with maybe the exception of Wade, grows in this movie, right? Wade, Catherine Wade, who is the surprise lady. Oh, we're bringing in Coach Wade.
Yeah.
Oh, Coach Wade is a lady.
I was not sure how to feel about that because, again, with you see Eric Roberts, you expect bad guy. You introduce a woman into this male environment. I expected romance. I said, okay, she's going to hook up with Alex and that's going to be a thing. Like I was expecting a little bit of Top Gun action and none whatsoever.
Not even a hint. I
was very surprised.
The only hint is that when she's first introduced, she's introduced as an Eastern sort of philosophy specialist and, Taekwondo expert or whatever, or Tai Chi expert or whatever. Yoga is one of her call outs. Right. Like she's there to strengthen their minds. And the one guy, Virgil, who's a Buddhist?
Yeah.
He kind of gives her a thing, like a look, like, oh.
Tantric.
Oh, yeah. Like, so, and then that's it.
Well, the one dude is like, can I have your number?
Of course.
And that's it. Well,
Travis,
that's true.
The racist.
He
the
kind of can't help himself.
Miami cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
but
movie,
then that's it.
It's So and in a certain way, in 1989, you can totally respect that. You can respect the fact that they introduced a female character and she didn't need to be anybody's love interest. Actually, this movie, I don't know if you noticed this, but watching it as an adult, it has a very mature take on male emotion. Both of the lead characters are dealing with a suppressed trauma in their life. And for Tommy, his brother was killed in the ring by, you're never going to guess it, the guy he has to fight in the tournament on the Korean team.
This is my surprise face.
Right.
You folks can't see it, but you can imagine.
They don't need to see it. They know and for Alex, the Eric Roberts character, Alex. Yeah, Alexander, right? Yeah, for the Eric Roberts character, his wife has died under mysterious circumstances. Not mysterious as in it might be foul play.
Never explained.
They don't tell why, and you don't really need to know why. But he has all that suppressed emotion. So there's a scene sort of where both of those guys come around, and they both say like it's really weird to see as an adult man a movie in 1989 where one of the male characters is admitting that he's afraid to fail when he's got this huge challenge in front of him, that being Tommy, who's afraid that he's going to not be able to beat Daehan, the one-eyed legendary Korean fighty.
Well, and I think I saw some actual tears on a couple of them.
Yeah, no, Eric Roberts.
Various points. Yeah, and then in that scene, he's talking about he pushed down the feelings and didn't deal with them. And I kind of didn't really understand that because you would expect that pushing down the feelings of grief would lead you to, desert your child and go run off and go crazy. And he didn't seem to do those things. So for him being the quote lead character, that story was not very fleshed out.
The movie suffered from the ensemble effect. But speaking of that, Walter. So yes, Eric Roberts' character has a kid named Walter who is a 10-year-old playing 5.
Right.
Like clearly this kid is in 5th grade and he's playing a 5-year-old.
He has a little 5 o'clock shadow, I think.
Yeah. And his voice changes during the movie. And so he has this son, and that's what you're referring to when you say abandoned child. Yeah. So his wife died in childbirth or shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And he's just put his whole life into Walter. Like seriously, the depth of the story in this movie. Right. Like, okay, just Alex, right? Wife died, was a karate champ, great karate fighter. His wife died. 3 years ago, he got beat so bad and his shoulder got destroyed, so he can no longer compete.
Never saw any of that. This is all in exposition.
Yes.
And sometimes with movies, I'm like, okay, spare me the setup scenes, just get to the main action. But I could have used a little bit more. Yeah,
there's a prequel to this movie for sure. Like almost every character has enough story to do a full prequel movie with. I want the Travis Brickley.
I don't. I don't. I want the Buddhists. Prequel. That I can.
Just him alone, just Alex alone, dead wife, put all his energy into raising his son.
Adorable kid
is devoted father.
He got his mom to leave her career as a nurse at a psychiatric hospital to help. So his mom is played by Louise Fletcher. For those of you who
know,
and
also is unsatisfied in his job as an auto worker. Feels trapped. Only thing he's good at is fighting in martial arts tournaments, and he just wants the chance to do that.
Yeah,
and that's why he's following his dream. And even when Coach yells a lot, is questioned about whether or not Alex is a good pick. He sticks to his guns. Yeah. There's also this weird, very 1980s American thing going on in this movie of where the Koreans are intimidating and good because their government fully funds their training and allows them to do nothing but train to be good at fighting, and that's it. And our team only exists because of corporate sponsorship.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Koreans, you kind of get the feeling that had this movie been made 5 years earlier, they would have been Russians, and it was just sub in Korea because Seoul is hot right now.
Yeah. Oh, and that's 100% possible. And if China had a more storied history of martial arts. They were like, okay, well, Japan is our ally. Nobody cares about, no one's going to care about a Russian Sambo expert martial artist because
okay, I was like, Sambo? What?
That's a Russian martial art.
My mind went to other places. Okay,
no.
Good.
It may be pronounced Sambo.
Let's do that.
Actually.
Let's say it's Sambo.
Sambo.
Yeah.
Which is like apparently a grappling Russian martial art. I don't know. Probably should Google that.
You should.
I'm using my professional wrestling knowledge, where every large Russian wrestler who has a throw people around style is said to have a Sambo style.
Okay, sure.
I lost track of what I was saying because I said Sambo.
Could have been, it was a stand-in for Russia.
Yeah,
Koreans have this military approach to training children from a young age. Yeah,
and I think they were just like, well, it's 88, the Olympics just happened.
Yeah.
And I don't remember, did Korea whoop ass in the 88 Olympics or something? I don't know. So maybe we had a grudge at they beat us down in the Olympics. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was just people never, considering that this is the 80s, people didn't know anything about Korea, so sure, said it there.
Yeah, it's just the easy. It's an Asian country where people probably do martial arts. I don't know.
I just, do they have sushi there? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your as we're winding down on the time scale here. I mean, we take as long as we want. Don't give me that look. We can go as long as we want. But at a certain point, there's only so much to say about Best of the Best. Do you have more that you would like to?
So, yeah, when you told me about this, and what you said was the cast is Eric Roberts, Chris Penn, and James Earl Jones, and I was like, what am I in for? But it was surprisingly deep in sections and incredibly shallow in others.
Yes.
So I give it a very mixed review. Apparently, critics hated it.
Yeah.
I was just skimming, and one review said top drawer cast, but a terrible script. I don't know that I agree with top drawer cast, but
well, you put yourself in 1988, right? Like in 1988, 89, like, you know, James Earl Jones is off of 3 pictures as Darth Vader. He was the villain in the first Conan the Barbarian movie. Like,
had he been in the Jack Ryan movies at that point?
I don't remember. Yeah, but yeah, you know, yeah, so. It's
he elevates it.
Yes,
a lot.
Yes, yeah. So no, I see what you're saying. I see where you're at, and I mean, it is, like we said, it is surprising that some of that stuff exists in a movie from 1989. Yeah. And it's not surprising that some of the other stuff exists.
Not at all.
Good surprises and not good surprises.
Yeah, there were definitely parts of this that were, you know, 80s movie Mad Libs, you know, insert foreign evil power, insert training montage with
2 training montages.
Thinly veiled cover of something.
Yeah, no, there is a straight up song. It starts out like and they just, it's like if you ever see the Vanilla Ice interview where he justifies how the bass line of Ice Ice Baby is not the bass line.
There's an extra rest in there. It's totally different.
So it's not the same.
Right.
It's
at
that.
all.
Like this song is legally distinct from Eye of the Tiger, but so similar that you would think that it is.
We call this one Mouth of the Lion, right? It's not the same at all.
No, there's it's a very Rocky IV.
Yeah.
It is, but it's reversed because have you seen Rocky IV?
Yes, a long time ago.
Okay. So in Rocky IV, Drago is training with all the technology, and Rocky is on a farm training with back to the earth methods. So in this one, the Americans are in their fancy gyms with their tech, you know, training.
Oh, that's
and
true.
They've got their, you know, bag that registers how hard you kick.
Yeah.
And the Koreans are
running uphill in the snow
and holding poses under frigid waterfalls and running uphill in the snow and breaking, you know, bricks and doing the whole. So it's actually
and
like
no steroids. I noticed that would if they were the Russians, there definitely would have been steroids.
Oh yeah. So yeah, they turn the Rocky IV montage on its head. On its ear, because the Americans are using the technology. So maybe at that time we had come around to the fact that technology is not so bad. Maybe
I don't know about
We're saying the Koreans are good because they train in the wilderness, and we can only stand a chance against them if we use technology.
This is a complicated metric of ethics. I don't know. Can we talk about the ending?
Sure.
For a second.
Sure.
I would have been all on board with one dude giving his medal to Tommy, and then that's it.
Daehan.
But all the other guys giving their medals to their counterparts, no. If I'm a Korean, I'm pretty pissed at that. That was annoying, especially the first couple ones where they whooped them.
Well,
it wasn't even close.
Here's the thing: in the defense of this ending, so what happens is this is a team competition. There is a total score for the team.
Sure.
For the final score is Korea 33, USA 32. The reason that America loses is because when Tommy has Daehan, the man who killed his brother, in a weakened state and is completely vulnerable, and one more kick will surely kill him.
Yes.
Tommy doesn't do it.
That's true.
He deals with his emotions. He overcomes his desire for revenge. He stays true to himself because we see that he is a pacifist at heart. He doesn't want to participate in the de facto bar fight that has to happen to bring them together as a team. And he also doesn't want his students who are bickering to fight each other. Yeah. So he stays true to himself, and he doesn't make what would surely be the killing blow. Therefore, because all he's got to do is knock out Daehan, and the whole team wins. Will win. Okay. The whole team will win. So had Tommy done what he didn't do, right, what he was supposed to do, then the whole team would have won. So that's, I think, the logic. If you want to get logical about it.
Okay.
But the first 3 guys got their asses kicked.
Yes.
So, you know, Travis, Miami Cowboy,
Virgil.
And there's such archetypes, right?
Virgil. Why is that Virgil and then a 5-year-old named Walter? Like, who
good names.
Anyway.
But, you know, the first 3 guys all get their tails whipped.
Yes.
Travis does okay. He loses in the breaking bricks at the end. Mm-hmm. If there's a tie, they break bricks to see who wins. And Travis loses by 1 brick. But the last 2 guys, they win their rounds.
Yeah.
But ultimately the team loses. And just before I forget this, they totally wear the Karate Kid inspiration on the sleeve, because straight up Eric Roberts' character gets hit in his bad shoulder and has to finish his round just like Daniel has to finish his round with his arm, with a gimpy limb. So whereas Daniel does the crane, he's got his arm taped up. There's a very dramatic scene. And this is why I say, like, Eric Roberts really was giving it his all in this movie.
He was selling the pain.
He straight up, like, for real cries in a couple scenes.
Yeah.
And you really feel that his shoulder is dislocated.
Yes.
And he has Tommy pop it back in against everyone's orders. And there's a great reaction and sound effect. Yeah. Then they tape it up. He's just like, tape it up, just tape it up. And because he's only got to survive for 30 seconds. If he doesn't come back, and again, this is the stakes. Yeah. If he doesn't come back, he loses all his points for the team. And there's no chance for Tommy, who's in the final fight, to actually bring them back. So all he's got to do is survive for 30 seconds. So Tommy pops it back in, they tape it up, and he goes back in. And not only does he survive, much like Daniel, he ends up scoring another point to help his team get that much closer to victory. And it is just like, that is the Karate Kid.
How many times have you seen Karate Kid? I'm just curious.
Oh, not to get off on a tangent here, probably 30.
Really? Wow. Okay. I've seen it once at most.
So my summer daycare had 2 movies. I don't remember what the other one was. It might have been Back to the Future. They had Karate Kid.
That Back to the Future, that tracks. Yeah.
Every day they showed one of those 2 movies, and the people who were watching it got to vote. And every day they voted for Karate Kid. So there was probably, and some days I just couldn't take it. Yeah. But at least probably 25 times that summer, plus another 5 natural times throughout the rest of my life, I have watched the Karate Kid.
Okay. I missed out on that whole phenomenon, including I missed out on the whole Ralph Macchio crush that all the girls my age had. I never saw it. But.
Right. He didn't appear on PBS, so you didn't know he existed.
Right. His picture was probably in, the 2 copies of Tiger Beat that I had. So I knew I was supposed to have a crush on him, but he was just generic dark-haired movie star.
Yeah. So in this movie, like, I recommend it to everyone. Watch Best of the Best.
I mean, do you seriously recommend it, or ironically recommend it?
I don't. It's not a so bad it's good. I think it is a time capsule.
Yeah.
But if you think about what we've talked about here, all of the things that it does, the ways in which it is progressive for its time, and the performances from James Earl Jones and from Eric Roberts, and the position that it puts a female character into the mix, and she's not a sex object, and in fact, she impresses the other coach who James Earl Jones doesn't necessarily say, I don't need no woman around. He just doesn't want another coach.
Yeah.
Of course, the implication is, and she takes it as because she's a woman, and she wins him over by giving a Vince Lombardi speech to the team.
That's all it takes, apparently.
Apparently. She knows football. She's a good woman.
She's clearly fine.
Right.
But then she demonstrates how to break the bricks. So
yes.
That's the only time we see her doing anything that's like physical. Everything else is mental. And when she's talking to Alex about, you're not in pain, don't feel the pain. I was thinking of Edward Norton in Fight Club, where they're talking about go in your cave and be with your animal and don't feel the, so I had a little laugh about that. So she does break the bricks.
She is there to strengthen their minds.
Yeah.
But I would also argue that breaking the bricks is a mind over matter thing. Because that's what they say that you have to do in order to be able to really do large numbers of that. You have to believe you're not going to break your hand, and then have really good technique.
Is that all it takes?
A lot of people don't. They're not able to do it because they just don't believe that it's possible. So so even in that, she's demonstrating mind over matter. But she's proven to be very capable and wins the respect of all of the male characters, including Travis. Even though it's not explicitly shown that Travis now respects her, he respects her as much as he can respect any woman, I imagine.
Which is not a high bar,
right?
But
as much as he's physically capable. Oh, speaking of, before we wrap up, I have to say, Bert's girlfriend in the bar fight. So the Travis character is So first of all, this woman leaves her unattentive boyfriend, who's played by Kane Hodder, the guy who's most famous for playing Jason in a bunch of the Friday the 13th movies, and goes over to Travis and strikes up a thing, and they're dancing on the dance floor, and he's grabbing handfuls of her butt, and then the boyfriend comes over. Like, clearly this is her attempt to make him jealous because he's not getting enough attention, and he takes a swing, and Travis dodges the swing, and he just straight lays out his girlfriend with a straight jab to the face.
I think she had to go right for a broken nose after that. That did not look good.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, violence against women, violence against anybody is not inherently funny. And this is played for laughs, and it is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not intentional.
No, it wasn't.
So it's not like he's even Bert as much of
that's
an
right.
asshole.
He does immediately. Oh, honey, I'm sorry.
Yes, he's painted. He's designed to be a character that you hate. The moment that he accidentally hits his girlfriend, he's nothing but concerned about her.
Yes.
So but yeah, that is that's probably the moment you laughed at that.
I did.
So that's probably the funniest moment in the whole thing, I think, and definitely worth mentioning.
I enjoyed a few minutes after that, or no, before that. Nice belly button.
Yes,
that was a good one. I'm going to try to work that into my repertoire. I don't think I'll be able to, but
yeah. Or also, we talked about the Buddhist Virgil. Like, he's pretty smooth at the bar when he picks up the girl that he picks up.
Yes,
he accidentally spills his Irish coffee on her.
Yeah,
and then says, "Oh, did it burn you?" And she says, "No, no, no." And he goes, "Bartender, this isn't hot enough."
That is a very premeditated pickup line.
Yes. Oh no, he planned that 100%.
I've never experienced anything like that.
He is also cast as the sort of Buddhist / nerd of the group.
Yes.
Even though Don, the assistant coach, is definitely the nerd of the group.
Yes.
In his room, he doesn't have a bed, but he has a desk with a computer and hundreds of videotapes of all of the fighters in the world, and he has a computer with data.
Well, yeah, I was like, I don't understand this dorm situation. Where's he? I don't get it. But
well, the dorm situation is perfectly understandable. You put your two main characters together.
Yes.
You put your opposites together, Buddhist and Miami, Texas Travis.
Yes.
And then you put your Detroit Italian with your nerdy assistant coach. Like, there's somewhere there's an 80s rule book that says that if you assign characters to 2-person dorms,
it's the archetype union has these rules. That's true.
These are the only ways you can assign these.
Are we supposed to intuit that Don works 24/7 so he doesn't need a bed?
Right. Oh yeah, no, totally.
Okay.
Don
well, that's sure.
Hundreds of fighters cataloged. He's got video. Yeah, he's got it all.
But he also appreciates Italian opera because that's what the Italian has opera just on hand.
The turn for his character is, "Oh, I'm a tough Italian from Detroit, and look, I got a case full of CDs with rare Italian operas."
Yeah. And looks out the window and says, "This looks nothing like Detroit."
Yeah,
it's post-urban, which in the 80s was Detroit.
Yes.
I don't remember this.
You gotta. So this is one you're going to see this later. RoboCop.
Okay.
And RoboCop is very much set in the 80s and very much a movie that is lampooning. RoboCop is a surprisingly deep movie about urban decay and corporate greed.
Okay.
And it is very much, they shot the movie in Detroit in like whatever, 87, 88. Mm-hmm. And Detroit looks exactly like he describes Detroit. Like it looks like a war zone.
Wow.
Where a bomb has gone off, even in the 80s. And, obviously they're location scouting, but post-urban.
Well, yeah. Location scouts can make a city look much worse or much better than it actually is.
Oh, totally. And set dressing and all that stuff. But, throw some rubble here and, whatever.
That's right. Yeah. A nice graffitied wall. So, yeah. So why did you pick this movie to show me? I mean, you've talked about some of it.
A lot of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so, long story short is I probably, if I've watched Karate Kid 30 times, I've watched this movie at least 30 times because we owned it on VHS. So I don't, if anybody's old enough to remember, you would get these little, it was 2 cassette tapes wide, 2 video cassette tapes wide. It was faux wood and plastic, and you pulled the drawers out and you had space for about 8 or 10 tapes in each drawer.
Yep.
Right. And, we had 2 of those full of movies.
Do we need to explain what a video cassette is?
Video cassette. Look it up, kids.
Kids. There was a time before Netflix. Yeah. Let's just say that.
I would be surprised if anyone ever under 30 ever hears this. And this was one of the few, and probably all of those will make it. Most all of those will make it onto the show at some point. So this was one, and because it had good karate action, from probably 10 years old to 12 years old, I watched it, 3 times a month or something. Because we lived down in a hole, and we could get like 2 over-the-air channels.
Yeah.
And cable would not. We lived so far off the main road, they would not run cable to us. We could get about 2 channels in our little hole, like ABC and NBC, and the local. It wasn't even a Fox affiliate yet, just the local UHF channel. And sometimes, if we very precisely positioned the antenna, we could get CBS. But it was hard to get CBS. On a clear day.
Wow.
You could get CBS. So subsequently, I watched the movies that we had, which include Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Best of the Best, probably 4 or 5 others that I'm struggling to remember right now. But there was this core group of about 10 movies that I had them. They were in a single drawer because I watched them so often. They had their own drawer in the cassette organizer. So that's the reason it has a dear place in my heart, if nothing else, because I watched it so much, and I wanted to see it again as an adult because I probably haven't seen it in 20 years at least, and I wanted to see it and was surprised to see how
it holds up.
Yeah, how it holds up, and all of these things that we've spent all this time talking about.
Yeah,
totally surprising. I expected this movie to just kind of be a joke, but yeah, good scene chewing by James Earl Jones. Real emotion from Eric Roberts. Good assholery from Chris Penn. By the way, did we mention Travis is played by Chris Penn?
Who you have probably only ever seen in Footloose.
And Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I've seen that. Okay. Okay.
Is his character named Chris? I can't remember. Yeah. So he wears a great tracksuit in that movie. Go watch Reservoir Dogs if you haven't seen it. Have you seen Reservoir Dogs? Is a more important question.
Yes, but I think only once. Okay. And I was like, oh, this is too much. Well, I don't ever want to see this again.
In the spirit of the show, we will keep it off the list, but I'm sure I can find something else in a similar
Well,
vein.
I don't remember anything about it. I just remember Stuck in the Middle and the ear, and there
are rules here.
Mr. Something.
There are rules here, and the rules will be followed until we decide to break the rules. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. Did this movie teach you anything about my tastes in movies before we met, or any aspect of my personality? My tolerance was clearly shaped by this movie, right?
I think probably more than just this movie, but yes, you mentioned at the beginning, it's a progressive form of masculinity, which I see in you that I appreciate. So I'm not down with the toxic masculinity, in any way, shape, or form.
That's I don't know why that's funny to me.
I don't either. It should be a plus.
Hey.
If I were, things would be much different.
Yes. I would have to pretend to be that instead of pretending to be what I am.
You'd walk around talking about your Archdale love muscle.
Yes.
Which no, thank you.
Yes.
Are there women who like that? That's just gross.
I'm sure. I'm sure that there are. I mean, I don't.
Ew.
Maybe in Miami.
Miami.
Yeah. I also wanted that to be like Miami, and at some point in the movie, him to go Miami, Texas.
Yes.
Like there's a Paris, Texas, and all that. Like,
yes.
Oh, like there's a Hollywood, North Carolina. I want to be like that. I'm from Hollywood, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm from Miami, Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was never a reveal. Like he's literally just a straight up Texas cowboy from
living in Miami. Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
Oh, Travis.
Poor Chris Penn. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
So.
All right.
So, would you recommend this to anybody else? You said you would.
I already said I would. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You gotta watch it.
Okay.
It's free and easy to watch for the most part. Get it. It's on several services.
Okay.
Get it. Watch it. It's wonderful.
All right. You are opening my eyes to cinema that I did not even know existed, which is, the point. So.
Exactly.
All right.
Do we have a sign off for this?
We better come up with one.
I know, right?
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, hey, thanks y'all for listening in as we talk about a movie that David loved in his youth and loves now, and that I enjoyed now.
Yes.
So tune in next time to see what else we're going to talk about that one of us loved before the first date.
The You Show Me Yours theme song is Uplifting Electronic Indie by Winnie the Moog from filmmusic.io.